I'm Dana K. White. I am the author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life, and today I'm going to talk about making space for other people's stuff. Because making space for stuff is the key to having a house that I'm able to keep under control. It's just reality, right? And what that means is that I have had to accept throughout my own deslobification process that a big part of the reason why my house was consistently out of control was that I simply had more stuff than space. And I learned that if I am going to be able to keep my house under control, if there's any hope of it, then I have to really give space to the things that are going to stay, which generally means getting rid of other things in order to make that space. Okay, so it helps me identify what's most important in my house. So a little story for you. So this is my cabinet. I'll just show you this little part here where I keep my mixing bowls, right? So I love my mixing bowls. They're actually, some of them are in the dishwasher, so they're not even all in there. But I love these mixing bowls and I use them. I have thought about it and thought, do I really need all of those? And then we have a party and I use all of them, right? So whatever. I love my mixing bowls. This is where they are. Well, my husband in the last couple of years, I mean, he's always been into weightlifting. Y'all have met him before, but he has really gotten into different things to go along with that. He really, really loves now making smoothies. Well, he bought this blender thing. I think it's a Ninja. Yeah, it's a Ninja. It's actually the coolest thing ever. So it's not an advertisement for it. I'm just telling you. So what you do is you put the lid on the actual thing you're gonna have the smoothie in, and then you bzz, 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 bzz on that, and it blends it right there, and it's just cool, right? Like you don't dirty another dish. Well, the reality is that to go along with that is all these other things. So he's got some protein powder and just different little things that he likes to have that go with this whole thing that he's very into, that he absolutely uses. It's a big part of something that, you know, it's what's important to him, right? Well, he lives in this house just as much as I do. And so his stuff needs to have a space too. Well, it's somehow kind of just gone here. Well, it's grown a little bit, and I think we actually have 4 of these cups. And the reality is, when I have other people home for the summer, my kids, they also like making smoothies. And so 4 cups is pretty much what we need, right? Like those get used, and there's generally a cup that's clean, and there's generally a cup that's being used, and there's generally a cup that's in the dishwasher, and that's what we need. So it's a fact that this is stuff that needs to be in my house, but it was getting crowded and it was making it harder for me to access and use these things here that I use. So yes, of course, in a moment of frustration, because, you know, I don't actually notice the frustration for a while until all of a sudden I'm like, this is driving me crazy. Anyway, I thought, okay, this stuff deserves space. This stuff deserves space. What doesn't deserve space around here? So I opened up this cabinet and I looked, and I realized that up there at the top, that top shelf, there's actually quite a bit of stuff that we barely ever use. So all I have to do in order to give stuff space is, you know, clear that space by getting rid of things that are not as important as the thing that I'm actually needing to keep in my house. But it generally takes me being purposeful about saying, what space do I have where this stuff would be looked for? My husband's way better than me at remembering where I put something when I tell him, hey, I just stuck this in a different spot for you. But this right here, first of all, what's in this space? Well, this is actually the lid to a pitcher that I haven't seen in a long time. Sometimes pitchers get confiscated to use for dog type things or projects or whatever, and I haven't seen this one in a long time. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. I think I'm going to throw it away because it doesn't have a matching pitcher, because I was literally just at a thrift store and saw an entire humongous shelving unit of just lids. So I know in the past I have stuck lids in a donate box, and I'm not saying I won't ever do that again in the future or that it's wrong to do that, but because I just saw that and I thought, wow, that's a lot of lids for things that are probably never going to actually find their, I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in the trash. All right, then I have this really cool jar. This is a very, very, very cool jar, right? Wouldn't you want to keep this? I did, that's why I kept it. Guess what I haven't used in a really long time? This jar. My mom uses jars like this all the time for all sorts of different reasons. I do not. So I am going to get rid of it. We don't have glass recycling where I live, I'm sorry. Okay, then I have this. Oh, this is a memory. This is absolutely a memory. And I bought this when I lived in Thailand before I got married. Okay, I thought it was gonna be easy to get rid of this, and it is not easy to get rid of this. But as I was standing here talking, I thought, you know what? I thought it was gonna be easy to get rid of because when I actually looked up there, I went, yeah, I've literally not used that in forever. But then when I was holding it, I thought how pretty it was. And so I'm going to use it as a display item. And I know exactly where I'm gonna display it. So I'm gonna go take it there right now. Okay, and now this space is mostly, oh goodness, I can't actually see the things that are up there. Found yet another lid for something that we haven't seen in a very long time. So that decision's already been made. So this time it was pretty easy. Now, that space is mostly clear. So now I am going to move his stuff out of my space. I'm sorry, our shared space that's actually for this. I'm gonna move that over there. Oh my word, it's another lid. I would literally never have looked in there for these little bread tins. But you know what? I would have looked in the cabinet right next to it because that's how it often goes, right? All right, so cleared off a shelf, gave actual room for this stuff that does get used in our house, but that was making it more difficult to use these shelves. So that's the best way when somebody else's stuff is driving you bananas. And I know this is one teeny tiny example of all the different ways that other people's stuff can drive you bananas. Obviously, this is not going to solve all those problems, but in these situations, the best thing that I can do is give them a space for their stuff, right? Now, if this space up here got over full, then I can say, and this is what I've done in the past many times, I cleared out a shelf for you to have your smoothie stuff. If anything doesn't fit there, then we'll need to get rid of some of it so that it all fits on that shelf. But there is something about me getting rid of my stuff instead of saying, you get rid of your stuff. Me getting rid of my stuff. Y'all, that stuff was easy to get rid of. It simply was a matter of me looking and saying, what am I storing here that I literally never use? And then when I looked at it that way, I realized I could clear off this entire shelf and give it to him as his space for his stuff, so then our house functions better overall, right? So focus on my own stuff first and clear out things to give space to the people who live in your home for what they need. I hope that was helpful. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.